Hey, 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 it's Rebecca, and you are listening to Resilient by Design. Today is part 2 of our 2-part series, debriefing my time at High Point Market. If you listened to part 1, you will be ready and waiting for this one, where we dive into the trends that we saw coming out of High Point Market and the vendors that we thought were pretty awesome and the showrooms that we enjoyed the most. If you didn't get a chance to check out part 1, definitely go back and give it a listen. That's where I shared with these 3 beautiful humans our experience of High Point, why you should go, the logistics behind it, where the hotel is located, how the shuttles work. It is a jam-packed with information podcast, so definitely go back and listen to part 1. But I will remind you of these beautiful guests. We've got Laura Thornton of Thornton Designs. We've got Jennifer Muirhead of Jennifer Muirhead Interiors from Connecticut. Laura's from Toronto, north of Toronto, and Jocelyn Polce of August Olive Interiors from Connecticut. So the 4 of us are we all met at High Point, as I mentioned in the other episode, and we did High Point together. These 3 ladies are members of our Designers Room community, which is a closed private community that is open. We open our doors for that community twice a year, and it's only for the members or the alumni who've taken Power of Process. So if you've taken Power of Process, you're welcome to join inside that community. And I get to see these ladies' faces on Zoom every month, twice a month. But this was the first time that we all got to meet in person. So in today's episode, we are going to walk you through the trends, the takeaways, the vendors, and our favorite parts of High Point Market. Enjoy. All right. I'm Rebecca Hay, and I've built a successful interior design business by trial and error, podcasts, online courses, and so many freaking books. Over the last decade, I've grown from an insecure student to having false starts to careers, and now I'm finally in the place where I want to be. Throughout my journey, it's been pretty obvious that I'm passionate about business and helping other entrepreneurs do the same. Each week, I'll share tangible takeaways from my own experience and the experiences of other badass women to help you build your confidence and change your business. I feel like now is a good time to just transition into what did we see? What inspired us? What were the trends? And if you want, what were some of the vendor highlights? We are not beholden to any vendors here on the podcast. So feel free to share what stood out to you. And I can share as well. But I think that designers listening would be super curious, what are those big hot trends that we saw? And what are some vendors that are worthy of going to check out if you're at High Point or if they're in your city? Let's start with trends.
I would say, there are so many, but I would say deco lines, a lot of curves, I just saw deco, a lot of deco inspired.
Like Art Deco.
Art Deco, yeah, from the shape of furniture, kind of round sofas, round front case goods. I saw deco patterns in rugs. It seemed to keep popping up for me.
Yeah, a lot of curves. I definitely love a lot of the rounded furniture, the softer edges. Mm-hmm. I think that was it Baker that they had all kinds of curved and soft, and yeah, there was that one room that was all curved furniture and everything was rounded. And there were a couple of things I thought, I don't know if I could find someone who could actually make this custom. That would be way too complicated, because sometimes things that are rounded are a little bit trickier. What other trends? I'll say the one that really stuck out for me was the fully upholstered legs and bases of furniture. So whether it was an armchair, the upholstery went all the way down. There was no wooden legs. Or if you had sort of a show base on the bottom, whether it was recessed or flush, it was also upholstered. I took tons of pictures of that. I thought that was a really cool and unique way of doing furniture. It's modern and even in more traditional styles. And what I like about that is that you're not then married to a certain metal finish or a certain wood finish. You know how sometimes when you're picking furniture, you're like, oh, what's the stain going to be for the legs? And how does that work? And, oh, well, that's silver. And I really didn't want silver or brass. Or I really liked that trend.
I think for me, I don't know if it was because the champagne was flowing, but I saw bar cabinets everywhere. Tall ones, small ones. I mean, I felt like
champagne. No,
it's literally like back to entertaining, but like really classy ways of like storing your stuff if you don't have a full bar setup, which I really love that. And then also I took a million photos of fringe on chairs, on sofas, just the different trims. I think that was like one of my highlights, for sure. Definitely the trims and the bar cabinets.
But also like, sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
No, I want to hear. I do want to hear.
Tell us.
There were a lot of interesting wood species, I think. So like coffee tables, inside tables, like, I don't know, it just was more interesting. It wasn't just like a general standard wood. I think there was some burl wood there was a lot of that we saw. Yeah. So I was excited about that.
I found a burled wood dining table that I'm obsessed with that I need to have in my house. My next house, though. I'm obsessed. I love burled wood because it has every tone in it. So it goes with everything. I love it.
Was it Highland House that had like a huge table?
Probably.
Burled wood.
I love that place.
I was like, I wanted to live there. I would have moved in. They had the ping pong table. It's so beautiful.
Totally. Laura, what were you going to say?
Well, it's been around for a while already. The boucle and all of the wicker and cane furniture was still heavily present throughout. But I really noticed the combination of mixing the leathers on sofas with fabrics was interesting. Not always a hit, but you could see that it was a trend throughout. And there was that sometimes they would do like all the banding and all where your arms would be sitting was all in leather, but the rest of the sofa would be in a fabric, or it was the whole chassis was leather and just the seats and back were in a fabric. Like I said, some of it was a hit and a miss, but it was present. Mixing of metals and materials was heavily present as well, like the combination of the marbles or the stones with brass or with a black ebony. I took a whack of pictures with the furniture, with the accent piping, heavily using the tapes and the pom-poms on pillows. Banquettes were another one where we've been using them here for a long time, but it seems like it was really mainstream. A lot of different uses for banquettes, whether they were back to Jen's note with the curves, or even just curved edges, different heights. I found that there was a lot of banquettes. And then there was a whole, remember we were all talking about the games table that went with the bar cart. So there was a lot of different game tables too that I noticed.
I love the game tables with like the benches or the stools. Those are my favorite. There were so many.
Yeah.
Or there was that one, I think it was at Highland House, that was just like a card table. It was square and then the corners pulled out and the corners were like, they pulled out a little drink holder. So I thought that was kind of neat. I mean, I don't know how sturdy it would be. I would definitely be knocking that glass over, but it was very creative, especially if I had a couple of those drinks. We'll get to that in a second. I have a last question I'll ask you guys at the end. Anything else? What about showroom highlights? I think we mentioned, I think a lot of us, our top one was Highland House. That is a vendor I had never heard of before.
Me either.
So beautiful.
Baker was lovely too.
And Gabby. I loved Gabby. Gabby Home.
Woodbridge.
Yeah, Gabby had a beautiful showroom. I was almost more enamored with the showroom than the pieces. I don't even really remember the pieces of furniture, but I remember the showroom.
They had so many beautiful vintage pieces that they had incorporated, which I really loved. That was really awesome.
It's also great marketing. Have a drink first, come in, and it really slowed us down, right? Like you actually, with this drink, it slows you down to stop and look and enjoy their space. It was really smart to have that element so that you are not just zipping through and missing half of it, because they had so much to offer at Gap. It was so much that if
and live music, remember?
Yeah.
Live music, like live folk music. It was like so folky and chill.
And live birds.
And the birds.
Dead birds. Taxidermy. There was a whole trend I left out of my highlights.
Stuffed animals, like not the toy ones. And
Jen, I have the best picture of you. You're holding your drink up to the buffalo head, and it looks like he's drinking out of the straw. It's so funny.
Send it to me. That's really funny. Yeah, I love that. I loved that showroom. Just the styling. There were some I thought the styling there was excellent. There were a couple of other showrooms where I thought the styling was good, but not necessarily what they were, the furniture. So I won't say the name, but yeah, I don't know. It was all fun. I liked visiting the sheep.
Yes.
Where were the sheep?
The sheep were Interlude, I think.
Interlude, yeah. We didn't actually go into that showroom, did you?
I just needed to see the sheep. I didn't
just sat on the sheep.
I didn't even have an interlude in Interlude.
And I have to say, the sheep were actually more comfortable. I'm shocked by it. I didn't believe you, but they are comfy. I still wouldn't put one in a project.
We'll see. TBD.
Also, I feel like lighting, like there's just such incredible opportunity to see lighting in person. Like from visual comfort to flow decor to what's the other Hudson Valley, Hinckley, like and then all kinds of other smaller shops. There was that one. What was it? Port 68. Was that what it was called? Yeah. That had those like beautiful lamps, like table lamps. It was over, and then that lantern place. I don't remember the name of it though. That has gorgeous big lanterns.
What the plaid? Yeah,
I have a picture of it.
Rebecca, I can send it to you. I have a photo.
I have a picture of it too. Yeah, that was lighting. Like so many really great. I don't know, great new lines too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else? Did we miss anything?
That little French place we stopped in was nice. It was a small one on a site. We went into Ollie.
Yep.
And then we stopped into that one that had the swan boat, and
they had a bunch of old doors, and I really liked
doors and kind of reproduction antiques. That was
I forgot about that one.
Nice things in there.
I think it's called. I'll find it.
Eloquence, maybe?
Yes. I think you're right. It's Eloquence.
Yes. Eloquence. Yes.
That's part of the benefit of going with other people, right? Because obviously, like, we're not going to do an entire room like that, but taking elements from each of the places that we went, like there were definitely showrooms that we stopped at that I would have never gone by myself. But having like you guys with me, I was like, I could incorporate some of this into my designs, things that I wouldn't have stopped in initially if it was just me by myself.
Yeah.
We haven't even touched on art, but there were so many beautiful art showrooms that like we were in there for hours, and there was like many pieces that were dynamite.
Yeah. Wendover was great. They had tons of especially I think for Canadians, I don't know for Americans, but I don't feel that we have great access to art here unless it's an original, which is wonderful, but not every project has the budget to do all original art. And online, sometimes it feels like, Etsy, or there's a couple of places, but Wendover was just one example. There's another art place, I don't remember the name of it, where you can go and then you can customize the frame, and they have every style of photography, art, like you name it. And you can order directly from them, and their minimums, I think, are pretty, I don't know, I'm going to speak, I don't actually know the answer to this, but I feel like the minimums are not that high because they're not big, bulky pieces of furniture. So anything else before we conclude? And I ask my last question, would you do it again? And if so, what would you do differently?
I would definitely do it again. And I think I would probably take a page out of Jocelyn's book and I would add a day. And because I left a day earlier than you guys, and I would check my luggage and go straight from there. Because I think not realizing that you could do that, I shortened my trip thinking I would have to, go back and go through that whole rigmarole. So that's what I would do. But I would definitely go again.
So you would do what? How many days would that be total then?
So that would be, I got there at 2:30 on Friday and I left at 7 a.m. on Monday. So I would stay into Tuesday.
So 3 whole days or 4 whole days?
I think that's almost 4 whole days if I left Tuesday afternoon. late or Tuesday evening, because I think
Laura,
I could do one more day for sure.
we got there Friday night, so we had Saturday, Sunday, all day Monday, and then we left Tuesday. So we had 3 days. Jocelyn, you had the most.
I had the most, but I was in the hotel on Friday doing work until the afternoon. So I think I had about the same amount of time as you guys. I had basically Saturday or Friday afternoon late. Like I think I met up with Jen at like 3:30 or 4. And then I left, I don't even know, Monday night. I don't know. It's a blur. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But I definitely do it again. I would not go. First, I was thinking like, oh, I could have done a day less. Now that I've like digested everything, I would have stayed for the most amount of time and maybe not gone in on Friday and stayed through Tuesday, because I heard Tuesday's a lot quieter, which I think is nice if you want to go to a showroom and have somebody there to talk to you about the line. So I definitely think I would want to be there for Tuesday. And I think I would go in a lot less stressed. I'm always someone who like, I want to have a plan and I want to check the list. I didn't do that this time. So the first day I had a little bit of anxiety about it. But now knowing that like you figure it out and you just do it by section, that's what I'm going to do next time.
Laura, how about you? If you could do it again, what would you do differently?
I would go earlier. One of the showrooms we ran, I believe it was Ollie, the gentleman there, explained to me that they're all open as of Tuesday. They all come in and open. Any of the permanent showrooms are open. And then just the large venues, like the larger, 12 and 6 story buildings are the weekend warriors or the show warriors. So I would actually come in even Wednesday evening, have all day Thursday doing the permanent showrooms, so that Friday, when the areas that are not always open, I'm there doing that before it gets busy. And then Saturday, go home Sunday, evening, have the 4 days, but I would just do it differently. I just personally prefer to start a week at work on the Monday, as opposed to coming in and coming back on a Wednesday. So I would just do it that way. I think it would be quieter as well. It wouldn't be as many people.
I definitely think you need to schedule in like a decompression day, because I came back home and went straight to site visits on Tuesday morning and kids and life. And I was like, by Friday, I thought I was I think I did melt down Friday night. It was just too much. So I think having a day to like sort of adjust and also like just take my notes and like think about the things that I saw and really figure out like how I'm going to translate that into my business, I think would have been really helpful.
Yeah, I would say that like that's kind of what I did do, because I took holidays, the 3 days or 4 days after High Point. I would definitely do that again. I was saying to Chris, I'm like, this is how you do it, because High Point is so much. And then I had time to kind of reflect, catalog my pictures, and then when I got back to work, what's today, Monday, I was like, everyone's like, how was it? It looks so great. I was like, I'm refreshed, ready to go. So yes, I would definitely tag on a little bit of personal time, whether it's back at home or like a trip like I did for sure. The thing that I would do differently is I would plan the mealtime better, kind of what we mentioned earlier, because I'm someone who does need fuel. I'm not one of those people who can go for hours on end without eating. And I know people like that, and that's wonderful for them, but that is not me. And so I would like to maybe strategically know, like, okay, let's all meet and have lunch at this showroom. And we know it's going to be a good spread. Let's get there by 12 o'clock. Because we found a couple situations where we got there towards the end of the lunch hour. And in one case, they had no food left. And then we were like, where do we go? And at that point, I'm like hangry, tired, don't even care what I eat. And then I end up eating just not healthy.
No, Swedish meatballs is what you ended up eating.
It was like being at IKEA. And then I went to another showroom right after that without you guys. I was like, oh my God, they had the best lunch spread. But I had already eaten Swedish meatballs and pasta. Yeah, I would use the app a little bit more strategically in that sense and look and see who's having lunch and just make sure I got that meal. That's how I would do it.
I'm with you. I agree.
What was the best drink you had? Which showroom gave you the best drink? Let's start with Jocelyn.
All right. Let's not get the wrong idea. I am not a drinker, usually, except at High Point. There was champagne everywhere and I love champagne. So for me, any sort of champagne drink definitely hit the spot. For my broken toe, it helped me walk a lot further.
I liked that one at the Sky, the party that we went to. And he, the bartender was like making a big deal out of it. It was like a tequila sunset sip or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was so pretty and delicious. So that's my
it was also like a great atmosphere too. We were on the roof. Yeah. It was sunset. Like it was amazing. They could have given us anything.
Yeah. Also true.
Yeah. It felt like you were on holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Laura, how about you?
It was Baker, without a doubt. They had the best champagne.
Oh, see, now Laura's getting particular about her bubbles.
Yes. I am. I'm not going to lie. I am.
She is particular about her bubbles.
That I shouldn't have, but that one, bar none, was the best one. It was on the last day where I was tapped out. Unfortunately, I didn't finish it all, but it was the nicest for sure.
I would say probably my favorite drink, and it's not that it's my favorite drink, I just liked the vibe, was at Julian Chichester. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
They had the Pims. And I just, whenever I have Pims, which is like once every 3 years, it just feels very British and fancy. And it was like very colorful in there. And I don't know, I just like that it was like a different vibe in there. And so I would say the Pims at Julian Chichester.
That was
I totally forgot about that showroom. So when you just said it, I was like, oh yeah.
That was my first Pims ever.
What? Amazing. Yeah, I'd say that's, as much as I love all the showrooms, I do really like being outside too. And I think there can be a tendency to get kind of stuck in some of the buildings. As much as you want to like stick to an area, I loved being able to walk on those little streets that had almost like little storefronts, and it felt like you were in a little city or a little town. It's a nice break from all of the, artificial lighting inside.
That might be something else on the survival kit, is check the weather ahead of time, because we had the cold mornings, warm days, but if it was going to rain, your shoes and your umbrella become imperative.
Yeah. And that was actually challenging because it was very cold in the morning, and then very hot in the afternoon. So it was really hard. But that's, to Jocelyn's point, like we could have used the coat check probably more, because there was never a lineup. Like it was pretty seamless.
We just shivered through the morning, and then like we're fine in the afternoon.
I think dressing in layers is the most important thing.
Yeah. And bringing a bag that's not going to be heavy, like a crossbody bag or a backpack or something that doesn't get, and don't take any of the pamphlets. Laura, you took them the first day and then you were like, I don't need this.
You know what? That was
take a picture of them.
That's the photo. That's exactly what I did. I had like 4 or 5 because I was like, oh, I really want to remember this. And then I was like, forget this. Like I know where to put them. So that's when I started taking the photos right before I'd walk in. Okay. And then, no more pickups.
I'm actually in another designer Facebook group, and they told everybody it's a great place to go and get samples for your library. I would highly discourage like anyone from doing that, because your shoulders are so tired just from carrying your own body weight around. Like I didn't take any samples, but everyone was willing to ship samples. Like I got a bunch of rug samples ordered, and I had a few other fabric samples sent to me. But you do not, by any means, should you be collecting all the brochures and all the samples. Like it's just not necessary.
Yeah, totally. All right, we're going to have to wrap things up. Any last nugget of wisdom you feel like we haven't talked about that you want to share with the audience? And before we share that, I just want to let everyone who's listening know that you can follow each of these lovely ladies on Instagram, because I know that each of you have already shared and posted about the trip, and some of you will likely put together some more content. I know Jocelyn's got some swivel chair reels coming out. I've definitely got some content to come out still. So follow everyone on Instagram, and let's walk around and just share where people can find you. If there's anything else you want to kind of leave the designers with who are listening, especially for those who've never attended High Point before. Who wants to go first?
All right, I'll go first. You can follow me on Instagram at August Oliver Interiors. I hope you guys can hear me. And I would say last nugget is just I would say for your first time, find a buddy. I think that was the most helpful thing. And remember, Jennifer and I had never met before this. So it was really nice to know that like there was someone to go and meet up with.
Yeah, I love that.
None
of us had met before. Let's be clear. Laura and I had met once, briefly. Like so brief, right? Yeah. It was like, hi, I'm Laura. Hi, Rebecca. Oh my God. Yay. Okay. That was it.
But
Yeah,
we all knew
really
each other from this format, right? Like from Zooms and things like that, but physically in person. And then it felt, I don't know about you, I'm not going to speak for you, but it felt like we all knew each other for ages. It's very fluid.
Except, can I share? I have to share it. Jocelyn's like, don't share. I don't know what Rebecca's going to say. That we felt like we all had a good sense of each other from our designer's room, like our monthly calls. However, Jocelyn had a very different impression of Laura from our Zoom calls than in person. Does anyone want to share? Or I can do it.
Laura is a very lovely woman.
But in our Zoom call, comes across.
She's a boss lady. Like she's very serious. So it was nice. Like I was a little nervous when she first came over at dinner, but it was fine. She's very friendly. I was a little scared though. I'm not gonna lie.
The next
I think
day,
she told me that after her PIMS.
Oh, it's the best. Laura's so funny. She's so much friendlier and funnier than I expected. That's awesome. Oh, okay. Anyhow,
really, like crying tears of laughter. Try to keep that in. I wasn't sure where you were going with that. I was like, oh God. Yeah. She did tell me that. I thought you were a little scary. Okay.
Just serious. That's it.
Serious.
Because Laura always has such great advice in our calls. And she's like she's all about the business, which is amazing. Right. Yeah. But she's also really funny. We all laughed a lot. I have to say, I laughed a ton with you guys. And Laura, you and I had such a bumpy arrival. Airplane.
The rest of my flight were fine. I shouldn't say that. Yeah. It got worse. I actually flew home Sunday, and when I got to the airport, they didn't have my flight, and they said, "Oh, we thought you were already home." I'm like, no, right here. So our flight was terrible landing, but that's okay. Everything else made up for it. I forgot by the time I got back on. But I agree with you, Jocelyn. I would say if you can link up with someone, whether it's via Rebecca's Facebook or her Power Process, all the things that she offers our designer community, or anyone else, if I'm your community, literal community, I would think that would be something that would be a benefit. And like we all learned a lot from each other. It really expanded High Point for me. Like I wouldn't have gone into 50% of the showrooms if Jennifer and Jocelyn hadn't said, "Oh, I know this one, let's go in." So I do see that would be a benefit for sure. And other than
at dinners, we learned so much from each other at dinners.
Yeah. I would go again for sure. I don't know. I don't think I would go every year, both times consistently. I think right now I would, just to get the lay of the land. And then, like I said, I think the planning is super important. And then I probably would do it once a year. Save up your money, put it away so that way you can invest in yourself and in the business. And again, everybody's different, but I really felt that it helped and gave us inspiration for future projects going into 2023.
Oh, and you can leverage that when you're speaking to your clients too. Oh, I was just at High Point Market. It happens to be the biggest furniture market, whatever it is, and you could describe it. And I firsthand have seen the latest and greatest trends. It really positions yourself as an expert. Yeah. Laura, where can they find you? Can you tell everyone where they can find you?
All social media platforms. We're at Thornton Design, THORNTON Design.
Awesome. How about you, Jennifer? Any last nugget?
I mean, I loved meeting up with you guys. It made the biggest difference, especially like having just done it last year to compare going by myself. So if you can do that, that's amazing. I would also say bring some Advil. Because I don't know. I'm 43. I needed Advil.
And leave your broken toe at home.
Leave your broken toe.
I was sore. No, but seriously, planning by building also. Plan by building.
Yeah. I feel like that was all of us at the end. We were like, yeah, maybe we stick to the one zone or a building per day. And because the first day we were like, let's go there. Let's try the next. Let's go over in that area. And then you feel like you've only seen a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where can everyone find you?
Social media. I hope my Instagram account disappeared because they're having some crazy glitch, but it's at JM_interiors. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Honestly, I mean it from the bottom of my heart for taking this time with me today to walk through High Point, our takeaways. But like more than that, thank you for coming along with me at High Point, because honestly, it was so memorable. And I said to my husband, I said, honestly, I have not laughed that much in a short period of time working in like, I don't even know if I ever have. Like it was just so wonderful. We all came out with different perspective. We just had such a nice time. So it was nice to just be in human contact with all of you in person. And it was wonderful. So I hope we get to do this again. Maybe we'll do another trip to High Point. Maybe we'll go to another market. Maybe we'll go to Europe. I don't know. I was telling Jocelyn, like, we need to go to Milan and like do all these trips. Right?
Done.
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 Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to let you guys all go.
Nice to see all your faces.
Good to see you.
Bye, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
So there you have it. Thank you so much to Jocelyn, Jennifer, and Laura. I really appreciate you guys, not only because you made me laugh so much when we were in High Point, but because you took the time out of your busy schedules to come onto the podcast and share all your big takeaways with everyone today. I hope those of you who are listening enjoyed this episode. I'd be curious what you think of the trends that we spotted. Do you think these are trends that are here to stay? Have they been kicking around for a long time? Like I know, like Laura mentioned, and it's true, we've been seeing the rattan and the cane and those boucle fabrics for a while now. Maybe they're on their way out. Maybe they're just becoming more mainstream. It's really an interesting conversation because, you know, a trend isn't something that just pops up and disappears. Usually it takes some time. Designers see it first. We try to get our clients to incorporate these trends. Usually they resist until it becomes more mainstream and then they're okay with it. Unless you're one of those lucky designers that can really get your clients on board early and you are ahead of the trends. High Point's a really great opportunity to go and see what is coming up in the world of design. So I really encourage you guys to consider a trip there. If I do something in the future with a group, I will obviously let you know. But, and of course, let me know if you're interested in something like that. Just send me a note inside our Designer Meetups Facebook group. But for now, I hope this gave you enough inspiration and knowledge to consider taking a trip, whether it's to High Point, Las Vegas Market, or one of the industry events to really up your game as a designer and really just inspire you to have a little bit of fun. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode.